Hello and welcome back to GoldStockTrades.com. Today we have with us Richard Spencer from U3O8 Corp. U3O8 can be traded as UWE on the Toronto. Thanks, Richard, for being here with us today.
Pleasure, Jeb. Thanks very much for having me.
Let's talk about the uranium price in the sector. We've seen the uranium price come back. Tell us about some of the fundamentals that you're seeing in the uranium price and why we may see a possible rebound going into 2013, 2014.
Jeb, as you know, the uranium spot price is just above $40. It's one of the lowest levels it's been at for a couple of years, and we believe that the reason that the spot is at that low level is because of a perception that the Japanese reactors and the German reactors that are offline could potentially sell their nuclear fuel into the market. Now, I think that that's overdone, but importantly, the HEU program, which is the program whereby Russian nuclear warheads are downgraded for fuel for commercial reactors, that comes to an end at this time next year. And that will take off the market 24 million pounds of uranium per year. And basically, that amount of uranium that comes off the market is equivalent to this theoretical overhang that there is in fuel that could theoretically be supplied into the market from the Japanese reactors and the German reactors. Now, we believe that that fuel that could theoretically come onto the market is not going to come onto the market. And one of the main reasons for that is that the Japanese have just bought 23 hydrogen recombiners from a French company. And what a hydrogen recombiner is, it's basically a catalytic converter, very similar to what we have in the exhausts of our cars, our vehicles. It converts any hydrogen that might be accumulating in a nuclear reactor during a disaster scenario and converts that automatically by a chemical reaction into water. So it doesn't need electricity, it doesn't need any pumps or anything like that. It's simply a converter that sits in the roof of the reactor and converts any hydrogen into water. And that is really, really important. It's one of the main new safety features. If we think back to those images of Fukushima and the explosions that took the roofs off those reactors, that was hydrogen exploding. And, the fact that the Japanese are investing in the safety equipment, 23 units, would suggest that they are thinking very seriously about switching some of those reactors back on. And I think that is a huge piece of news that possibly has been missed a little bit by the press. And, of course, the other milestone that's coming up is the election in Japan in mid-December, and the possibility of the opposition party, which is more pro-nuclear, getting into power. I think that we're poised for a very significant rebound in the spot uranium price.
Yeah, Richard, we're U3O8 is despite all the strides that you've made this year, the U3O8 still trading near multi-year lows. Can you comment about all the fundamentals and all the work and progress that you've made in 2012, both on the exploration side and the metallurgy going into this PEA?
Jeb, yes, I would love to. Obviously there's a disconnect between the share price and the value of the company. We have pushed extremely hard to get preliminary economic assessments done, both on the Colombian project, which is the flagship of the company, and also the Argentinian projects. out towards the end of this year. Those will be available in the next couple of weeks to months or so. And the importance of the preliminary economic assessments is that it allows us to transform from being an exploration company whose value it's very, very difficult for an investor to evaluate. You depend on my word as to how good the projects are, whereas once the PEAs, the preliminary economic assessments, are out, then it means that anyone can look at those studies and come to a pretty good idea of what the value of the company is, and then they can look at that relative to the market cap of the company and decide to what extent the company is undervalued. So it's a fundamental step from having to listen to what management says about the company to being able to do your own analysis of the company once the PEA is out. So the PEA is an absolutely key step in the history of this company, and we're just a couple of weeks away from releasing those numbers into the market.
Richard, we've seen a delay of some of the other mines from like BHP at Olympic Dam. I think Paladin's delaying some of their mines. Why would the majors be interested? What's the competitive advantage of the Berlin project versus some of these other large CapEx projects?
Jeb, I think the main reason for those delays is on those other projects is just the uranium price. It's sub-economic for those mines to continue forward at these prices. And the advantage that the Berlin project has is that it is not only a uranium project. Uranium accounts for 20 to 30% of the value of the ore. Another 20 to 25% is contained in the vanadium value, and again the same amount in the phosphate value, phosphate being used in the fertilizer industry, and then two rare earths, nickel and two rare earths, yttrium and neodymium, plus nickel, account for the remaining 25% of the value of the rock. So Berlin has the advantage that the value of those other commodities will largely offset the cost of mining and extraction of the uranium. So at the end of the day, Berlin should be a low-cost uranium producer, thanks to the value of those additional byproducts that occur with the uranium.
Well, Richard, thank you for being here with us today and for giving us an update on U3O8, and we look forward to the PEA, which will be coming out shortly.
Jeb, thanks very much, and thanks very much for the interest. It's always good to talk to you.